welcome to Westport Weekly. I'm Dan Gifford, and this new show is produced by students of Westport High. Every month we're going to produce a new show that will air repeatedly throughout the month. The weekly show will be made up of a school-related segment, a community-based segment, and an interview segment, and a list of upcoming events. Scott Frost, Westport High's band director, has led the high school to great success over the years. Recently beginning their concert band, Westport Weekly caught up with Mr. Frost to take a look at the band's activities as of late.
1, 2, ready, and.
Westport High School's band program has been in direction by Scott Frost for 13 years. Currently, the program is performing color guard, indoor drumline, and concert band, and has recently performed their winter Christmas concert.
We practice every day from 7:30 to 9. We do sectionals. We do, of course, total instrumental program put together.
I think we're going to do actually very well. We've been working on it for ever since the beginning of school, so we know the music pretty well, so I think it's going to sound pretty tight.
Through direction of Mr. Frost, the program has made significant progression over the years, something well recognized by students and faculty alike.
There's been a major improvement in the school system, and especially in the music department, and the music department has grown a great deal.
Probably the marching band is one of the strong points. Jazz rock ensemble is one of the strong points. The MIDI lab, which is being moved back to the band room now, we're in the process of that, is definitely a strong point. So technology and instrumental.
Not only does Westport High's music program have so much enthusiasm and involvement, they also have been given very lucrative opportunities in the past, and as of late, such as winning 3rd place at the 1997 USSBA Finals, and recently dealing with 92 Pro FM.
Kevin Lynch found out it was Sax Day, which they have Tuba Day, Trumpet Day, Sax Day. It's a day of the year. And 92 Pro FM was doing a call-in and play, telethon. So we called in, and I know they're going to ask us to do other things. They've already contacted me about some other events.
Scott Frost can certainly be credited as a factor in the success of the high school's music program, as students appear to accept him as both a mentor and friend.
Well, just from being in high school, I've seen a lot of improvement. Like when I came here from middle school, I was really nervous and I don't know what to do. And Mr. Frost is just really, really helpful.
Me and Mr. Frost I think we have a really good relationship. I think it's one of those relationships that's a little bit more than just a student-teacher type of relationship like we can talk about. Since I'm really involved with music and he's really involved with music, we both can discuss and, compare, if you will, our musical background.
After being involved with the Westport Community Schools band program since 5th grade, junior Kevin Lynch has truly been instilled with the value of music.
Music is one of those things that it's very unique and different from sports and from other extracurricular activities because music is so widely arranged that you can have the competitive side of the activity, which is the marching band part, and you can just enjoyment part, which is sitting down in a jazz band or a concert band and just playing some music.
Despite the evident success of Westport's music program, Mr. Frost's plans weren't originally this type of occupation.
Well, to be honest, I did everything I could not to teach. I went to UMass for 1 year, and then I went to Berklee College of Music for 4 years, so I could do a double major. And went on the road with a few bands after that, and that's really what I wanted to do. But I found out once I got left in French Lick, Indiana, that was probably not such a wonderful thing to do with my life just because of the fact of stability.
Today, Mr. Frost plays in several bands, as well as sailing and exploring multimedia applications.
Coming up next, we'll show you how a group of innovative students have taken an alternative role in education recently.
Make contact.
Make friends.
Make fun.
Plans.
Trouble.
Make a point.
Make it happen.
Make believe.
Like good.
Make new.
Make
Clear.
Make up your mind.
Make peace.
Make inroads.
Right.
Reference.
Make change. Change.
Make acceptance.
Make hate.
Make something.
Make a stand.
Make art.
Make a difference. Make a difference.
Make noise.
I don't want to give you my love. I don't want to meet wasn't going to school because I was making money stealing cars. Well, I was 10 when I first got involved with drugs. I skipped school because, you know, nobody cared.
When I first got pregnant, school was not important to me, so I dropped out.
Well, if I don't finish school, then I can't go to college. I mean, that's the whole point of what I want to do with my life.
I still need to go to school to make it for myself.
I think I'm happier now. I know I'm happier now.
After you, mister, studied all that extra math back in high school and now have an important job doing important things?
Not so fast. Mr. Never studied algebra or trigonometry and now scrapes by as a low-level assistant. You probably have to get back to answering phones and typing. Good afternoon, Mr. Vice President with a degree in advanced calculus and number theory.
Afternoon.
Seniors Michaela Hunt, Sean McGarr, and Nicole Gursky have recently seen what it's like to be on the other side of the fence, recently teaching 2nd and 3rd graders introductory Spanish. Westport Weekly caught up with the three to see exactly how this program works.
Seniors Michaela Hunt, Sean McGarr, and Nicole Gursky have taken an alternative role in education recently, visiting Westport Elementary School on Thursdays to teach 2nd and 3rd graders introductory Spanish. The 10-week program runs for approximately an hour, and the program counts for community service hours for the National Honor Society.
I heard about the Spanish program, and I was interested in Spanish. I love the Spanish language. So I decided that it'd be a really fun thing to do. So Nikki and I did it last year as well. And then this year, even though I didn't need the hours for National Honor Society, I'm still doing it because I really enjoy it.
I got involved with the National Honor Society with Gail Sylvia, she called, and before us, there was 2 other girls who had ran this program, and Mikhail and I were very interested in it.
Though the program does help with the National Honor Society, the program also gives the seniors a sense of self-pride, as well as showing them for the first time in their lives a teaching perspective.
When you see that the kids are paying attention to you and that they care about Spanish, that they're learning something, that brings enjoyment. When you see those few kids who really like you and, you know, they come up to you, give you hugs, and they miss you when you're gone, that's a really good feeling. And that's a lot of the enjoyment. It's also a great feeling of satisfaction to know that I'm doing something productive with my time.
I thought it was pretty funny when they were like, "You're a teacher, you're supposed to know everything." I suddenly realized how all these kids looked up to me, and instead of being all the years I was a student and everybody else was smarter than me and the teachers were like, you know, the know-all, suddenly it's reversed and the roles are reversed, and now a lot of the girls especially, but a bunch of the guys too, they look up to you, they want to learn from you, and they actually want to, also they hold you as a teacher, but they do want to be your friend.
Considering the age group, the elementary students are not just taught with pencils and paper. The students also play games and other fun activities, applying the lessons they're taught.
Every week we'll take basic topics. It is only 2nd grade Spanish. So, for example, this week we did the months of the year and the seasons, so that they can learn that. And we also do an activity, usually some sort of a game like Simon Says, but we'll do it in Spanish instead, or Duck Duck Goose, but it'll be Plato Plato Guzo in Spanish. So they're incorporating the Spanish language while they're having fun, which is the whole idea behind this whole program.
Though the program incorporates games for better learning, the experience certainly hasn't been all fun and games for the high school students.
I have to say that this year was a lot harder than last year because they suddenly decided to have a bigger class. And even though we have an extra person this year, Sean McGarr, it's not helping.
The program has been very advantageous for younger students, and this program has acted as a very beneficial method to teaching foreign languages to our youth.
Coming up next, we'll take you one-on-one with a member of the reaccreditation program, as well as showing upcoming community events.
Why don't you come up here, Pumpkin?
What are you doing, Larry?
Well, Vince, I've asked my pumpkin to sit on my lap to prove a point.
And what is that, your Larryness?
Even if we fasten our safety belts, even if you hold on tight, even if you were watching the road, in a crash, your pumpkin will be nothing but a squash.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Use child safety seats.
We love that little pumpkin to pieces.
Excuse me, Mr. Executive who studied trigonometry back in school and now sits in a huge office and drives a finely tuned luxury car.
Yes, Mr. Only learned basic math, so still have an entry-level job and
Have to live with your mother? If you need me this weekend, I'll be here filling out your expense reports and timesheets because that's really the only kind of math I can handle.
Great. Simple addition and subtraction sound right up your alley.
Have a great weekend in the country, sir.
Well, I was 10 when I first got involved with drugs. I skipped school because, you know, nobody cared. I mean, I was on drugs, and my mom didn't really care because she was on drugs. She was never home. I was in 8th grade for like 3 years. I was heading nowhere. I just thought the only way I can make something out of my life is that if I get an education, you know. I don't want to be a loser, some loser getting high all the time. I mean, I want to make something out of it.
Come on, David. Come on, David. Let's go, David. Come on.
Come on, David. You got the love.
Get as involved in your kids' education as in everything they do, and imagine the success they might find. Stay in touch with the teacher. Visit the school. For more tips, call 1-800-281-1313.
Go, David! Go, David!
Hi, welcome to this edition of One-on-One. I'm Dan Gifford here with Ms. Resendiz to talk about reaccreditation for Westport High School. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
What exactly is reaccreditation, and what does it plan to accomplish?
Reaccreditation is a process where we assess the value and the quality of the education that's offered to the students of Westport High School. We hope to meet the standards set by the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, which has provided us with standards to assess us by.
What is the procedure?
The procedure is basically a number of steps. The first step is where we evaluate ourselves. The faculty and the staff and the administration get together, and with the standards, we assess how well we meet those standards. At a later time, which in our case will be April of 2003, a group of visiting educators will come in and also assess us based on what they see in reading our report. They go back to the New England Association of Schools and Colleges with their recommendation. They, in return, come up with whether we are reaccredited or we are put on probation. That is the first two parts. The procedure continues by giving us an opportunity to prove upon what they found to be weaknesses. And we have to file 2-year progress reports and 5-year progress reports. And then the process begins again.
Is this a mandatory thing that Westport, as well as other schools, have to do?
It's not mandatory. It is a voluntary thing. However, it is so important to have the accreditation because of the way the colleges look at the schools that even though they say it's voluntary, we don't consider it voluntary. We feel it's something that's essential to do as educators.
Now, how often does this school have to go through it?
It is every 10 years, as I mentioned before, but it takes 2 years to do the reaccreditation, to do the evaluation itself. So you really seem to start 2 years prior to the actual accreditation, which happens for us during the year 2003.
Now, how does this one differ from other years?
10 years ago, when we were in this process, there was a lot of checklists. There wasn't as much writing that had to be done. There wasn't as much demonstration. We simply just graded ourselves by check marks. The new process goes quite a bit more in depth. We have to provide evidence. We will have school projects, student projects. We'll have papers. We will have a lot of data collected, which has to be presented to the visiting committee in addition to our written reports.
Is there a committee that deals with this, and do you serve on this committee?
Yes, we've established a steering committee which consists of myself and Mr. David Allen, who will be co-chairs of the committee. In addition, Mrs. Deborah Dayhill from the Media Center, Mrs. Bonnie Gifford from the Business Technologies Department, Mr. Michael Roy from the Liberal Arts Academy, and Mr. Weintraub, Dean of the School, sit on that committee.
Now you said you were the co-chair. What exactly does that position entail?
Well, in addition to running the steering committee meetings, Mr. Allen and I are kind of in charge of the entire process. We've been asked to keep the ball rolling, keep everybody on task, provide as much support for them for the committees as we can, in addition to making the arrangements for when the visiting committee comes in, from dinners to hotel rooms to meetings with students and parents.
Are there subcommittees, and what purpose do they serve?
Yes, the evaluation itself is divided up into 8 particular areas, and there are subcommittees involved. Teachers have been assigned to those committees, and they have already begun to meet.
How can students, parents, and the community get involved?
Volunteering to be on any of the committees is a very good way to become involved. They might feel that they don't know enough about the school or the programs, but this is an excellent way of finding out about them. We have 3 existing committees right now that are in need of any support or participation from outside of the faculty: the Committee on Curriculum, the Committee on Instruction, and the Committee on Assessment. Those are our really big points that we need some input from outside people.
Now, how can the community find out the results?
After the visiting team makes their recommendation to the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, there is some back and forth between them and the administration here at Westport High School. They will eventually send back a report that they both agreed upon, and at that point, the administration is required through the process to publicize it in numerous areas. So again, it will not probably happen until later, much later after the April 2003. But it has to be made public. The report is public. It'll be in the library. It'll be in the administration office. It'll be at the high school. It'll be town hall possibly. But it will be publicized.
I'd like to thank you for coming. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity to explain the process. The faculty, administration, and staff at Westport High School is working very hard to assess our school and to improve it. And it is a long process and a lot of hard work by all involved. So I appreciate your giving me this opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you next time for the next edition of One on One.